our guy James High Roller made a video about Luka Doncic being who he is in the league and his stature and his stance. Gonna end up, it looks like, averaging the most points in the league this year. When we compare him to a guy like Giannis, because Sage wanted to bring up a guy like Giannis, this is what we're looking at. 34 from Luka, 9, 10 assists from Luka, and then Giannis at 31, 11, and what is that, 6? No, we can still talk about defense and all that other garbage and all that da-da-da-da-da. Again, our friend James put a nice little bow on it.
On the court, the Celtics are still really good. When Luka isn't on the court, the Mavericks are terrible. To look at how many wins a team has as the driving factor for the MVP race neglects how teams even got those wins and how much the best player on that team is contributing to those wins.
Now, again, Jimmy High Roller had a very, very in-depth breakdown about, Luka Doncic is important to the team, why he's the best player in the league, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I hate to be that guy, but we got to bring him back up. At what point do we say, just being honest, there isn't anything he can do? We need to stop entertaining the conversation about Luka, because I think it would make a lot more people happier. Hey, there isn't anything that Luka can do. We need to stop having that conversation, because he's doing as much as he can. At this point, he's 0.2 assists off of a triple-double, a full rebound off of a triple-double. But a triple-double apparently doesn't matter. He's stepped up his defense this year. I mean, he's played as best as he can throughout all the team injuries, et cetera, et cetera. Like, is there nothing that he can do at all to make him in the MVP conversation?
Just win, baby, win.
Oh, he's definitely in the conversation for me. I just want to make that clear.
Let me say, no, I'm sorry. God, I hate this.
To win it?
To be the, hey, this guy is the most valuable player in the NBA. I did not mean to say the conversation thing.
No, that's cool. I'm going back and I'm changing by the day at this point. So I want to make that clear. Even though I got Jokic right now, I'm changing by the day because I'm facing with 49 games. Kyrie hasn't been fully healthy. Derek Lively hasn't fully been healthy. The help that he got it at the trade deadline, and the numbers speak for themselves. So Luka is having a phenomenal season. And in the video, Jimmy was really talking about how, like, throughout NBA history, for the majority of NBA history, there has been a correlation between winning and the MVP award. There's a couple of exceptions. The question is Luka one of those exceptions? I feel like, personally, people don't want to admit it because of all these conversations this year about defense being non-existent in the league anymore, and the inflated stats when it comes to the NBA now. So that's why people, like, look down on Luka's stats. But yeah, I think even with those factors considered, Luka is having like an outlier season for real. So I don't know, man. Luka's a bad man. So,
but still, where is he on your MVP list?
2, like a really, it's 1A, 1B at this point.
Okay.
We are now in March and college basketball is hot. And what better way to consume the game than playing Prize Picks, our personal favorite way to play daily fantasy sports. The game is very simple. All you got to do is download their app or go on their website. We will be sticking to college basketball today as a theme for March Madness. And if you know ball, you can win some money.
Let me get Big Day Thompson for the more, never less. And I got to give a shout out to my main man, Nicholas Timberlake. Definitely going to take the more on the three-point attempts. He's going to get him up there today.
I'm going to go ahead and put 33 to win 99. That place entry. Let's get rocking.
And make sure you use code LKIAB on Prize Picks right now. Match up to 100% of your first deposit up to $100. Thank you so much to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. I'm going to keep it quick. There is nothing he can do. Realistically, he has to do things that are out of his capabilities. He has to be a clearly better defender. I do agree that his defense has gotten better, but people will still look at him as a below average defender. So the notion around him needs to be he's a plus defensively, which is just something I don't think he's capable of doing. That's one of the things he will have to do. He will have to find a way to play the perfect amount of off ball, but still allow him to be Luka in people's eyes. Like, he has to defeat a bunch of narrative things to be clearly the MVP or win the MVP, in my opinion. I don't think it's something realistically he can do to be in the conversation to actually win.
He can do something, but it's something that's like, I don't want to say out of his control because that's going to sound like the Mickiest shit ever, but it's just they'd have to just go back in time and win more games. Like, literally, if he had just won a lot more games potentially, but then it sucks because this Mavs team is a different team than it was at the deadline. I mean, prior to the deadline. Hell, this Mavs team is vastly different than it was even a couple of weeks after the deadline. This Mavs team is a fucking, I like it. I like it there in Dallas. So it's just unfortunate. The only reason he's still my MVP is because I'm just maybe out of pettiness and 100% because of bias. People are been of the mindset for a long time that, hey man, it's just going to the most valuable guy, and we haven't cared about seeding consistently now since really the 2020s. So I'm just following the schedule. I'm just playing the rules. I'm like, okay, if one guy is clearly better, fuck the wins. And I think for a majority of the time, we went to the guy with the wins because it's been relatively close. But this guy's winning, the other guy a little bit better, but he ain't winning. Luka is dwarfing. I'll argue that right now. Luka is beyond best season in the league right now. Luka Doncic. What are we yapping about? So at that point, I'm like, give him the fucking award. But I understand people that live by their we done with the 90s logic, but still want to have 90s voting attributes when it comes to the MVP award. So it is what it is. I ain't tripping off it. My guy going to end the league. My guy going to retire with 10. So I don't care about this year.
I think we just need to say, just going forward, no questions asked. So we're not even reaching or entertaining these conversations with these people. You have to be a top 4 seed in the league, right? Well, no, let me not say top 4 seed in the league. You have to be we probably should have that conversation. Let's just say you have to be no less than a top 5 seed in the league. The only reason why I say that is because if we're considering Giannis in this conversation, Boston has the best record, then it's Denver, then it's OKC and Minnesota tied at 49 wins, and then it's Milwaukee with 46 wins, only 3 games back. But just put a clear definition on, we won't even really entertain the conversation with anybody else. Hey, you have to be that person, because no matter what we're showing, and you could still have a lot of wins, you could still produce well, you could still do all that stuff, but if we're not going to take anybody that's not in that top 5, and that's even really reaching, but if we're not going to take anybody out of the top 5 serious, and we just don't even need to get not only their fans hopes up, but just don't even have those conversations. And somebody saying Lionheart said 50 wins. We can't say that.
Luka's at 49.
Yeah. There's a time too when in order to get into the playoffs in the West, you had to get 50 wins. And if I go back to that time, there's clear a lot of people who, probably were in that MVP conversation but shouldn't be. But if we're gonna weigh this much on team things, because that's my thing in the Luka conversation, is that we're like penalizing him for his team and lack thereof so much through the injuries, through the transition, through just the sheer lack of talent in comparison to some of these other guys. We're just taxing him super heavy for that. And if that's what we're gonna do, that's what we're gonna do. That's fine. From now on, and maybe I was just fooled, if you're not one of those top 5, and again, 5 is stretching it. If you're not in that top 5, 4 in wins, I don't even want to hear it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, historically speaking, 95, because I manually calculated it prior to 2020, 95% of MVP winners had a top 4 record in the league. So it is a consistent criteria throughout a majority of NBA history. That has changed since 2017, like 95%. So that has changed since 2017. Jimmy High Roller pointed that out in this video. Like it literally goes, all right, these are all the MVP winners. And then since 2017, it goes up and down, up and down. So yeah, there has been a change in criteria since 2017, which I always credit to it in terms of basketball discourse being a good thing. The fact that we can see the value in a player despite him being in bad situations and putting them in these conversations. But I do think when it comes to the MVP award, it has been taken less seriously, because what it does now is the criteria can change every single year. One year is going to be best player on the best team. Next year, it's who's the most valuable guy, even though he didn't have a top 4 seed. So now people just don't know what an MVP is. So I guess that's a hot take for me. I would honestly rather have a set criteria for what the MVP is, so the award means something for real, and there's consistency with it, instead of every single year we have these conversations and it just feels like a pick me award of what's the vibes looking like this year, like who's the winner this year.
I would just real quick, I just want to say that may or may not matter to me if the rest of the people that are losing on those other teams, like losing the MVP awards, don't even really have a case. Because I think nowadays, and that's why I'm saying we probably need to just have a real conversation about criteria, standards, records, numbers, all that stuff. These numbers are becoming unfathomable. Like they just are. And we're getting to a point where, maybe that's another thing that I like about college right now that's got me so hype about it. Like 30 means something. 25 means something. Hell, even 20 means something in some of these games right here. Like these numbers mean something. But now I'm looking at
giving you 35 a night.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at a team with a guy, any other era where a guy is averaging 34, 1.5 steals, 10 assists, 9 boards, like these statistics.
And
it
Embiid
would
got
be
injured
great.
too.
You
Embiid
said
got
what?
injured too. I'm saying Embiid got injured too.
Right.
So
He was averaging 36.
And that's exactly what I was going to say too. Now, mind you, those are great. There's another guy doing something just as great, maybe if not greater. And there's like all these numbers are all over the place. So like how are people even coming to these conclusions anymore?
I'm telling you, I think a big part of why Luka doesn't get taken as seriously is because, again, in this conversation of outliers, people don't know if what Luka's season is an outlier. Like when Russell Westbrook averaged a triple double on a 6 seed, clear outlier. What the fuck? 30-point triple double. Even if you look at MJ's 1988 season, I think they still won 50 games, but he was averaging like 37, 6 and 6. Clear outlier compared to the rest of the league. But when 2 and 3, I understand there's still a gap between Luka and these 2 and 3 guys. When 2 and 3 are Jokic putting up a 26-point triple-double with good efficiency, leading his team to a 60-win record. And when the 3 guy is a guy averaging 31, 10 and 6, really good defensively, shooting 60% from the field. It's like, I don't know what it is. This one of those seasons that deserve a break from the winning conversation or not? So
that's tough.
It's very tough. But that's why I ain't gonna lie.
He'll never win, by the way, if that's the case.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's why I'm already pretty much, in my personal opinion, I don't really give too much stock into the MVP award. I barely even care about finals MVPs. It's too much narrative, too much agenda pushing, too much. Oh my God, I can't wait to see what they'll say on First Take about this. It's all this shit is just jokes to me. I look at seasons by MVP caliber. I know that's corny. I usually don't talk about that like that. I usually would call it corny, but that's what I have to do now because this MVP shit is damn near ass, bro. I'm not gonna lie.